anti-government protesters clashing with pro-government groups in the socialist country as it struggles with major economic problems, from food shortages to triple-digit inflation. And just today, General Motors announcing that it's shut down operations altogether after the country authorities there seized the only factory that they had. I want to bring in Pablo Manriquez and Charlie Kirk. Charlie, you have been a very vocal advocate of socialism, and right there right near us, our southern border neighbor has been a great example of what the end result can be.
Right, and I'm a big critic of socialism because I've seen what it does to great countries, or once great countries, and it's so sad to see what's going on in Venezuela right now. And an unfortunate irony is that people are starving in Venezuela, but Maduro isn't. He's eating great. He's been doing really well. He's protected by armed guards in a high palace, and the citizens are protesting in the streets. And this is what we see with socialism: is the rich do better, and the elite are protected, and the middle class and the poor suffer. And what's the saddest part about the Venezuelan example is that these people really thought things would get better for now 40 years. And this is the failed promise of socialism, continually saying that things are going to get better and taking freedom and liberty and money away, and you're seeing the chaos ensue because of it.
Pablo, to Charlie's point, a recent report that 75% of the population has lost 19 pounds on average during this crisis. Again, the haves and have-nots, for an ideology that supposedly spreads the wealth. It never seems to happen. In fact, it looks like they're on a precipice of something extraordinarily ugly.
I agree, Charles, completely. And I think that a lot of it has to do, obviously, with the drop in oil prices. Without oil, Venezuela can't really do much. They don't have any, like, that's their major resource.
I'm going to just jump in 1 second and I'll let you finish. But let's be honest also that even when oil was soaring, they were so cocky and arrogant that they stole. They stole from many Western nations, and the ones they didn't steal from, they kicked them out. So they had no expertise when things went wrong. So yeah, low oil may have exacerbated what's going on now, but let's be very, very clear. These issues began even when crude oil was at $100 a barrel.
There's no doubt that the Venezuelan government has been corrupt for a very long time, and I think if we look at the demands that the protesters are making, they seem to sort of coalesce around 3 points. The first is free and fair elections. The second is the release of political prisoners. And the third is to get rid of Supreme Court justices in the Venezuelan judiciary that basically tried to neuter the Venezuelan Congress last week. So there's no doubt that that corruption is basically at the root of Venezuela's trouble right now.
So let me go to Charlie real quick, because Charlie, to that point, is there any chance of democracy now? Because I've read reports where Maduro was arming civilians who, that had his back.
Right, and so the problem is not necessarily the corruption. You're going to find corruption no matter what. The problem is that government is too big and too powerful in Venezuela, so it allows this corruption to be institutionalized. I mean, forget oil prices, forget the flying price of crude. If government is this big and can continue to take freedoms and liberties away from people, and you don't have a balance between free enterprise and government ownership, they're going to do whatever they want. And that's exactly what's happened here in Venezuela.
And we've seen it over and over again. Guys, we had a lot of breaking news, and we're going to cut this one short. Certainly, unfortunately, we will come back and talk about this in the future.